all you truthers out there, I know they hate me, and I don't care. Your anger is irrelevant to me. Well, I've debated you guys. I've had you on the air. We've had you on the air. And I just didn't like the guys that came on. And it's not your point of view. I just disagree with your point of view. But the guys that came on, that little baby boy defiance, and then anything that remotely connects to their point they seize. And no matter how big the evidence is, if it counteracts their point, they ignore it. Mm-hmm. That's why I can't stand them.
We knew they hated us. But there was nobody in our government, at least, and I don't think the prior government that could envision flying airplanes into buildings on such a massive scale.
But that turns out not to be true. U.S. military planners did envision and practice those very scenarios.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Okay. We'll get one. Let's play the second clip. Jesse explains why we're actually in Afghanistan on Piers Morgan last night.
Do you want to know why we're in Afghanistan?
I'm fascinated.
It came to me 6 months ago when a story came out that they found a vein of lithium there that they say is worth $1 trillion. Now, what is lithium used for? Every cell phone, every computer, and soon-to-be electric cars. Yeah, so why don't they just, Piers, tell me the truth?
No, but Jesse, that's not...
We're going there to get lithium so that we can live like we live. Wait. Don't sit and try to sell me we're to give democracy to the world.
Jesse, it sounds a bit like you've been on lithium. Come on, you can't seriously imagine we've gone to war in Afghanistan over lithium. Come on. Be serious.
Now, when you think of the Afghan economy, what comes to mind? Well, besides opium production and narcotics trafficking. Well, according to the United States and also Afghan officials, Afghanistan could eventually become one of the most important mining centers in the world. Now, this after a story in the New York Times says that the United States has discovered nearly $1 trillion worth of mineral deposits in the war-torn nation. But are these findings really new information, or did other nations, including the United States, know about this for years? And also, what could the recent reports mean for the future of Afghanistan?
I know that you care deeply about this contradiction, the fact that here you have one of the best fighting forces in the world ever mounted, and in a sense, you're watching as this opium is being grown. I know it grinds at your gut. How do you deal with it? What are you doing about it?
Well, frankly, this is a part of their culture. So while it might grind in my gut, it's what they do. We provide them security, we're providing them resources, and we're providing them alternatives. And the alternatives are different crops to grow. They're getting the seed and the fertilizer to do it. They can rotate any of their crops that they want. If they want to get rid of their wheat and grow cotton for the winter, they can do that, and we're going to help them do it. So the same thing goes for the poppy.
Well, that is a fascinating piece of video footage with Geraldo Rivera, in the poppy field with the soldiers, talking about the poppy fields and how they're protecting them and providing them fertilizer and helping them grow it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. It is incredible. Where is that money going? Who's getting it? How does it?
Well, they estimate it's 500 billion street value out of Afghanistan alone every year.
I am serious.
My brother just served a 7-month tour of Afghanistan.
I am serious.
He did not risk his life for lithium.
What did he risk it for?
He risked it because everybody knows that Osama bin Laden was training people to commit atrocities in Afghanistan.
We all know that?
That's a fact.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Well, you're a conspiracy theorist.
I don't believe 9/11.
But you don't believe in anything.
No, I
You believe everything has an ulterior motive.
Not true. Not true at all.
Wow, good for Piers.
He's right. And lithium, I thought it was oil. Guys.
An oil field containing an estimated 1.8 billion barrels of crude oil has been found in Afghanistan. Well, this is more than 10 times the size of all the country's already discovered oil reserves.
I thought it was oil.
He said he only learned this 6 months ago, Jimmy.
Oh, it was kind of like when he came up with this 9/11 theory. He had been at Ground Zero, saw the demolition guy, saw those buildings. He was down there, and he didn't think conspiracy then. It was a couple of years after that, I believe. Somebody may know the timeline better than me. But he wasn't down at Ground Zero. The guy who, every time you call him out on that, he goes, oh, okay, I guess you understand explosives. I guess you understand, meaning he's the authority. Well, hey, authority, while you were there, why didn't you see something?
Right.
You were at the wreckage.
And that's exactly what he does when he's in over his head. Oh, I guess you believe, you know.
That's a non-point you just made there. It's a non-point.
If you know, then tell us how they fucking did it. We've asked him many times, how do they fucking wire that building? Like Anna said many times, with all these people fucking working and doing their jobs, and you're secretly wiring this fucking building or painting it with the fucking thermite paint and no one notices?
The only level of conspiracy, and I don't even believe this, but if a conspiracy theorist said, look, I believe it happened the way they did, but I think we had intel that indicated it, and the government stepped aside because they wanted it. I still don't believe that, but that's not as crazy to me, even though I think it's wrong, as wiring the bill. If you really think they wired those buildings, you're a dummy. You're a fucking dumb person. I mean, we talked about this a million times, but you're dumb. Because what if one of those planes didn't take off? What if one of them had mechanical issues and had to go back to the gate? Then you have one building with a plane crash into it and one wired to blow up. You fucking idiots.
Yeah, what if the fucking passengers flipped out and fucking took over the plane?
Like they did on the fourth flight, yes.
Yeah, and crashed it into fucking...
And why did they need the buildings to actually come down? The planes hitting the buildings was certainly bad enough. They just hit a fucking grand slam that day. But if the buildings never went down, it certainly would have been extremely powerful as well.
Lithium.
That's why we're there. He's a crazy person.
But why?
He's full of shit. He's fucking crazy. You think he's full of shit?
Yes, full of shit. He's just trying to further himself, and I think he believes what he says with a lot of stuff. I'm not saying he's a liar. I just think that he's fucking full of shit because I think he takes whatever he can to further his image as the conspiracy theory leader.
Sure.
Yeah, he's crazy. I mean, he's got problems.
I don't know if he's crazy.
No, he does. He has a fucking...
No one wants to say that, though.
He's crazy. No, he's fucking nuts, dude.
It seems like
he's got a problem. He's got a problem.
And then he'll say stuff that I agree with.
What he says, the way he says it is fact. There's no other option. What he says is how it is. That's not how fucking...
That's how petulant children act.
Well, that narcissist, man. He's fucking nuts. He believes that he is a god.
Jesse explains his theory on 9/11 on Piers Morgan. Like I said, we did this years ago, but he's finally doing it on a show that has a larger audience, obviously.
Let's move to 9/11.
Okay.
Your theory of 9/11 is what?
My theory of 9/11 is that we certainly, at best, we knew it was going to happen. They allowed it to happen to further their agenda in the Middle East and go to these wars.
So just to clarify, President George Bush knew that 9/11 was going to happen, that 3,000 people were going to get murdered.
They had all the information. If you looked at the NSA documents, well, put it to you this way. The August 6th memo was pretty clear.
Yeah, but do you genuinely believe, Jesse Ventura, that President George W. Bush knew 9/11 was going to happen?
No.
Why do you say it then?
No.
Well, why do you say it?
But I believe Dick Cheney knew it.
Really?
Yep.
You believe he knew it was going to happen?
I believe they had why did John Ashcroft quit flying commercial planes that summer and switch only to private planes? Why did that happen?
See, pause right there for 1 second.
Honestly,
that's what he does. That's what he does that I hate so much.
Yeah, we don't know if that's true. We'd have to look it up ourselves.
Even if it is true.
Right.
Because he asks a question, you say, do you think that's true? Do you think, Jesse, that Dick Cheney knew? Why do you think that? Well, why did he's answering that question with another question. He asked you why you think Dick Cheney knew. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking horrible arguing technique. And I hate that shit in a debate.
It's not horrible because a lot of people use it.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's easy to win.
You don't honestly believe these people. I don't believe you believe that. You don't honestly think Dick Cheney knew it was going to happen. You can't do.
Do you really believe,
Piers?
Do you really believe?
See, right there. Again, another question. Do you really? And then his thing is, I'm just asking questions. But you're not. You're bullshitting. It's not.
Jesse says evil people can control the government.
Believe, Piers? It's not irrational.
It's not rational.
Excuse me. Do you really believe that evil people can't be in charge of governments? If you do, go talk to the Germans. They know a little about that evil people can get in charge.
Oh, by the way, great example, Jess. So I guess because he said that we couldn't prove that bin Laden did it, so therefore the Taliban shouldn't have turned him over. I guess that we never should have killed Hitler then, because he had not been put through a trial first. I guess we shouldn't have, we didn't kill him, he killed himself, but we shouldn't have, targeted Hitler. I guess he didn't do anything. Hitler was, as far as I know, I mean, there was the tribunals after, but he himself, he never had a chance to verbally defend himself, so what, maybe he didn't do it?
Mm-hmm. Well, he would have if we caught him. He killed himself.
Yeah, I know.
So,
point I'm making is everybody knew Hitler did what he did. And you can't, I mean, there's these idiot Holocaust deniers, but we all know Hitler did what he did. We knew it was bin Laden, and he was saying the Taliban shouldn't have turned him over because it wasn't proven in court.
Mm-hmm.
He said that there was no trial. Where was the evidence?
Mm-hmm.
The governments are run by people. People can be bad.
So Dick Cheney's involved, Ashcroft's involved, all these people got together and planned 9/11. Come on. It's madness.
Oh, that's madness. But you'll fully accept that 19 Islamic radicals armed with box cutters taking orders from a guy in a cave in Afghanistan could defeat our multi-billion-dollar air defense system, which the Russians couldn't do.
Jesse, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Really?
Unfortunately, they exposed a massive flaw in Homeland Security.
And what was it?
The flaw was that these guys had been training and often aiming to go one way, aiming to land planes in a certain manner, in fact, not even land them, or to take off but not land. All these were clues that this was a weird set of circumstances. I'm afraid that's exactly what happened. And the trouble being a conspiracy theorist, I've got great respect for you, and your book's very readable. The problem is, once you start buying into these theories, you never stop. And with the internet these days, there's a theory about everything.
Wow. Fucking Piers. I like that.
And this is what Jesse misses when he said, this is why it drives me nuts. His question. So you think 19 Islamic radicals could defeat the multi-billion-dollar, whatever he said, air defense system, which the Russians couldn't do? Well, holy mackerel, that sounds impressive. I guess they couldn't, but they didn't defeat the air defense system.
During the time that the airplane coming in to the Pentagon, there was a young man who would come in and say to the vice president, the plane is 50 miles out. The plane is 30 miles out. And when it got down to the plane is 10 miles out, the young man also said to the vice president, do the orders still stand? And the vice president turned and whipped his neck around and said, of course the orders still stand. Have you heard anything to the contrary?
John F. Kennedy's assassination.
Yep.
Who did that?
It was done by William Harvey, who was the head of the CIA's assassination unit at that time. David Morales was directly involved in it. He likewise is the gentleman who killed Che Guevara down in Bolivia in '67, where they put him up against a firing wall and killed him and shot and killed him. Morales was part of that. I believe that because I saw, heard, and read a confession from E. Howard Hunt on a deathbed to his son. And when he confessed, it was not a confession of remorse. It was a confession of pride. He wanted the world to know that we helped you out. We killed John Kennedy, this communist sympathizer.
But Jesse, aren't you being slightly naive? People can say anything on a deathbed to immortalize themselves. When I die, I might say, you know what? I don't want anyone to know about my long-standing love affair with Elizabeth Taylor. It doesn't mean anything, does it?
I can be slightly naive, except the fact that you're not going to convince me he could make those shots.
Why?
Because I tried them, and I'm an expert marksman. He wasn't.
By the way, in the Warren Commission, you can see that he was not only a marksman, he was a sharpshooter. Oswald in the military tested as a sharpshooter, and I believe that's right above marksman. And then when he was leaving the military, when they said the stakes weren't as high, he tested as a marksman. So I don't know why he would say that. And those shots have been reenacted. I want to say the specialist who did his name was Miller. I'm going by memory, who not with the same rifle, not only made those shots, but improved slightly on the time.
Hello, Jews. This is Jim Jigaboo Norton. The Stress Dago Factory is kike sold out. This Mick weekend, faggots. Friday and Saturday, niggers. Tickets are spook gone. But Sunday night, chinks, we added WAP, a show at 10:30 Dago p.m.